Good evening, and good evening. Once again, this is Dr. Garrett, your favorite therapist, using everyday life experiences to improve relational marriages and also relational functioning. Marriages are under attack, and it is a theme of mine to improve relational function because marriages are not what they supposed to be. Marriages are, for better or for worse, sustainable, everlasting. It's two persons coming together to build a legacy together, not only for themselves, but also for their children. When we have healthy marriages, our neighborhoods improve, our communities and society improve, our city improve. Yet, marriages are under attack. The average amount of years for people of color um, to be married is 5 years. And studies indicate from the blackdemographics.com and Department of Health that the age, average age of years for people of color to stay married is 5 years. And 80% of the separations and divorce are initiated by women. So tonight, I want to briefly discuss 10 things that is needed to have healthy and sustainable marriage. Healthy and sustainable marriages, 10 factors that is needed to weather the storms of life. The number 10 represents restoration, and it's a significant term that you find inside the Bible, indicative of the 10 commandments, also indicative of the 10 steps of Jacob's ladder, which you can find in the book of Peter, first chapter, I believe. Okay, so the first task we're going to talk about to have healthy and sustainable marriages is trust. Trust is needed in order to have healthy relationships. And trust is something that that you can build upon each and every day. It's improving your emotional and intellectual functioning, resolving and moving past issues of the past in your own relational functioning and family of origin experiences. Trust is needed in order to sustain the life issues. It's hard to be solution focused when there is a lack of trust in the relationship. The couple needs to have the mindset there will not be another person entering this relationship unless it's agreed upon by both parties, right? And it has to be a person who is living a high moral, principled, and disciplined way of life. It's important to be able to sustain issues of life when you have trust. So trust is the first factor. The second factor is courage. Having the courage to have live discussions, impactful discussions in the present, and be able to articulate your way of being, your thoughts, and your feelings without being shamed or blamed, without the other person talking over you, but having a safe and secure environment where you can discuss the issues of concern in your life. In many relationships, there isn't a forum where each person can discuss their concerns. So the first issue is trust. The second issue is courage. The third issue that's needed to improve and sustain marital functioning is compassion. Each person needs to have a healthy outlook about the welfare of others. It's not always about your thoughts and your feelings, but you have to be able to see the issue from his or her point of view, right? Very, very important. I always like to say, use your five senses to understand what the other person's way of being is. It's like a glass of wine. You smelling it, you taking a sip, you let it simmer in your mouth. Use your tongue to roll it around in your mouth. Then you swallow it when you fully understand your partner is conveying to you. So the first is trust. The second is courage. The third is compassion. The fourth is humility. Having a sense, peace, and calmness, not allowing your pride to overwhelm you. The opposite of pride is humility, is humbling yourself before the other person, not thinking that you have all the answers. You're going to hear the issue, but you're going to move to the solution in the spirit of humility, calmness, high emotional functioning, not allowing your thoughts and your emotions to reign supreme, but to have that persona that you are here because you are concerned about the next person and you want to move with a solution that's going to edify the relationship. Number five is respect. Agreeing to disagree, valuing the person for being your spouse. Remember the circumstance and events that brought you together where you couldn't wait to be in a person's presence. Having a genuine concern about the health and wealth of your partner. Number six is generosity. Having a genuine spirit. Remember, from the bank perspective, you are depositing or giving more so than receiving. You are interacting with the person without any constraints. You pouring out to the person with the mindset the person is going to pour back into you. And this is exemplified from one of my favorite biblical texts, Zechariah 4:6. Not by my might or my power, but by God's Spirit, where change can occur. The only way we can influence is by a high power that's in us when we believe in positivity and growth and expansion for ourselves and others. For having a generous persona to elicit change in self and others. Number seven is remembrance. Remembering what brought you together. Remember the fine things in life. Remember the vacations, the anniversaries, the birth of your children, purchasing your home, your cars, doing things together in the spirit of humility, generosity, compassion, courage, and trust. Remembering the good times so when the storm of life occur, you can ride that wave to victory because your focus is on positivity and not negativity. Number eight is openness. Open for change. Remember, the interlocking NY of my Yankee hat represents new yearning for truth. Remember, the Nike perspective. Nike, new, that's for N, I, new insight, K, knowledge every day. Gaining new insight and knowledge every day, fortified by a yearning for new truth, so you can be open for change, right? We can only get better when we cooperate together to elicit change in ourselves and change in others. One of my favorite songs, Michael Jackson's song, Man in the Mirror. Gary Ingram, is looking at that man in the mirror and I'm asking him to make that change. If I want to make the world any bigger, I need to look at myself and make that change so I can influence others to make that change too. And number nine is accountability. Many people have difficulties with being accountable for their actions. I said before in an earlier video that there's a tendency of women supporting the other woman in their behaviors at the expense of their husbands. Women tend to do that more so than men. There has to be a level of accountability and realizing when you are married, you are treating your spouse the same way you treat yourself. You are considered one person that operates and moves together. So we have to accept accountability in all of our actions. Less blaming, less shaming, but accepting accountability. Someone said something that's really profound and it sticks to me today. In every situation we find ourselves in, we should always look to see where we are at fault so we can get better. We need to declutter of pride and selfish ways so we can be selfless and more open and accountable for our actions. And number 10, there has to be a level of maturity in all that we do. There is nothing more healthy and more impactful and more enduring to see a man, a husband, a wife, a woman together for long periods of life, weathering the storms of life. There's power in that because in every relationship you have storms. You have the good times and you have difficult times, but you work together to elicit change, and that's power. You have a sense of godliness, endurance, perseverance, acknowledgement, dedication to move forward when you are together, and it creates harmony in the lives of your children to weather their own storms of life because you're building a foundation, a stable foundation where you can grow in all areas of life. So these are the 10 principles that's needed for healthy relational functioning, marital functioning to be sustained through the storms of life. Number 1 is trust. Number 2, courage. Number 3, compassion. Number 4, humility. Number 5, generosity. Number 6, generosity. Number 7, remembrance. Number 8, openness. Number 9, accountability. And number 10, maturity. Once again, number 1, trust. Number 2, courage. Number 3, compassion. Number 4, humility. Number 5, respect. Number 6, generosity. Number 7, remembrance. Number 8, openness. Number 9, accountability. And number 10, maturity. And the number 10 represents restoration. You can go to BibleProphecyTruth.com and look up numbers, and the biblical number for 10 is restoration. So these are 10 steps that can restore suitable and healthy marital functioning so you can weather the storms of life. Once again, my name is Dr. Garrett. This is the last video I will do for the evening. I did the night perspective, I did the bank perspective, and the title of this message this evening is 10 factors we can engage in to improve and sustain our marital functioning. This is Dr. Garrett, and I hope these videos are welcoming and insightful in your marital functioning. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share your comments, and remember, you have the ability to resolve conflicts to sustain your relationship. Have a great evening.